How perfect was that NFC championship situation? That was a perfect situation when I think about it. Two California teams going at it to get to the Super Bowl. It's almost too perfect, isn't it, when you think about it? Two California teams. So there would have been a California team in it no matter what, whether it's the LA Rams or the San Francisco 49ers. And the team that wins just so happens to be Los Angeles. Huh. Get a load of that. So the LA Super Bowl is going to feature the LA Rams. It's almost too perfect. It's almost just too perfect of a situation. And then if they win the game, interesting. Well, it's a big deal for a lot of people. And you know what? I am to some extent excited about it. I mean, hey, it's cool. We've got some pretty big events coming to LA this decade, starting with this one, Super Bowl in 2022, World Cup in 2026, the Olympics in 2028. Yeah, pretty busy decade, right? But let's go with this Super Bowl. So I used to be a very hardcore football enthusiast in terms of watching. Now, if you ask me to play, I'm with it. Two-hand touch, flag tackle, let's go. Whatever. Because contact sports is me. It started with boxing. Basketball became my second love, football my third, then became my first. But football and boxing, oh yeah. I'm with it. So, but watching the game kind of shifted because I've always had my suspicions, and of course, some of you have as well, about certain calls made in games, and those calls affect the outcome of the games. You think of, well, this is a television broadcast. Millions of people are watching this, and there has to be some form of drama. Now, in your mind, you don't want to acknowledge that. You don't want to even think about that because, hey, you rock with your team. You're pumped. Family outing, tailgates. Yeah, let's go. It's one of those, it's been a part of your family for so long. It's that tradition. Yeah. But then when you really break it down, you think, when you look at those games that had calls that were outrageous, whether it was in the regular season or in the playoffs, you think about how if you've been supporting a team that has never gone or a team that has been this close and didn't get there, and certain calls might have prevented it. I was giving tours of Hollywood, and there was a former official on my tour, and we had a pretty extensive conversation. Very interesting man. And he would officiate the tennis games back in the 80s, John McEnroe. And remember, John McEnroe used to get pissed off in those games. He would always throw his tennis racket, just blow up. So people would tune in to see John McEnroe get pissed. Well, this former official expressed to me that he had to make certain calls in order to piss John McEnroe off because it is a television broadcast. People are watching. They got to be entertained. Drama. So I think about that and I'm like, wow, okay. If he does it in that sport, why wouldn't officials do it in other sports? Makes sense to me. I mean, I've had my suspicions, but you put two and two together. And then cut to a couple of years after I gave that tour and had that interesting conversation. I'm watching a game with the Raiders, the team I support. They're facing the Texans. I think it was week 6. They win the game, but they win the game because of some calls that were in our favor. And of course, I should be happy about this because our team benefited from the calls. But it didn't sit well with me. I was like, yeah, this just doesn't, I'm just not down with this. And so, yeah, that was the shift. That was the nail in the coffin right there. I was like, all right, this really isn't as big of a deal as I made it out to be. Now, mind you, I could go to a game, cheer, root, shout, scream. You ask me to go play, I'm with you Okay, 100% I'm going to give all. But the end all be all, so much to the point to where I'm fighting other people over the team that I rock with, so much to the point to where I'm giving up days of work, rushing home and, putting myself through hell and high water in order to sit down and watch some people bash each other. It's not that anymore for me. I guess I evolved. Some people haven't. And then the game changed too, so it's not just the conversation on that tour, it's not just the calls, it's also the gameplay. The game itself has changed, the way the game is played. Okay. um because I love the aggression of the game. If sports did not exist, especially American football, boxing, MMA, if these sports were not around, where would this aggression go? I can only imagine, where would it go for men specifically? Because we have this testosterone and it's got to get out. And thank goodness for sports. You're able to let it out in an organized fashion. But if they're trying to water down these sports so much to the point where you can't do it, you can't taunt, you can't express yourself, even that dunk by Westbrook, right? Right after the one by what's his name? I think it was oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Anyway, Westbrook has that dunk, and the official just says, and he's getting real pumped about it, right? And he gets a technical. And it's like, man, where can we express aggression? I understand it's got to be sort of controlled because you don't want to have a malice at the palace again. I get it. Because everything post that has been real ticky tacky. That was what, 2004. And so they're worried about that happening. But that's with fans, players, and just complete chaos. I get it. You got to control the situation, but there has to be some let out. There has to be some, especially with American football, man. Men understand the dangers and the threats of that sport. They understand it, and you choose to do it. Okay, there's the argument, we got to protect the players. Right. But your head is attached to your shoulders and you're going full speed into somebody else. There's bound to be something that goes wrong. The same way that you would go to the armed forces and a war breaks out. You know the risks. The same if you were to be a law enforcer. You know the risks. Your job is to serve and protect. Men understand this in their minds. So here you have an organized thing called sports where that can take place without it being a threat to other people's lives or creating damage to a building or explosions and, bombs going off. It's controlled already in the stadium or on the court. I don't know. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but it's been beautiful here in Los Angeles, by the way. The month of February, I love the winter in L.A. It has been beautiful. For those of you that have been visiting LA or those of you that have been living here, you go outside. Oh my goodness. I went out with my camera, took some pictures and took some photos of the beautiful sunset. My goodness. So with the Super Bowl being here and everybody coming from all other places to go to the game or just be here, there's people that probably won't even go to the game. They'll just be here for the events surrounding the game, like the NFL experience, for example. So yeah, I can only imagine the activity that is going to be happening for 1 week in Los Angeles. It's probably going to be the biggest week at the beginning of the year here. So, I'm excited for that because at least, people can engage in activities and, see what's really going on here in Los Angeles. Because some people have been away for a while, then they come back during the Super Bowl week and they're like, that's what's going on in your city? Ooh, I don't really like that too much. I know LA has a reputation. I get it. But there is beauty of the city, especially the weather. I mean, we all know. I mean, that's the reputation, You pay so much to have great weather to live here.